Hi, everybody. It's me, Beth Maitland with Drama Queen Bee Quilt Studio. And tonight I'm coming to you from my new little sewing space. It's just a little temporary space that I use sometimes when I'm working in town. And I have my Tula Pink Bernina, my little Bernina sitting behind me in a dress form that I can pin things up to and use to measure. It's not a real one. My real one is in my home studio in the Central Coast, but I'm in town this week working, and so many people have responded privately to me and publicly, but asking for a tutorial to talk a little bit about some of the posts that I've made this week about using up my scraps in the studio, literally not just scraps but literally the trash, the little garbage can that I keep at my cutting table, that I don't allow anything but fabric and batting and trimming scraps and threads and stuff to be put into. I have a little, just one specific place where whenever when I trim up quilts to square them, when I trim up blocks, when I cut fabric and have little scraps too small to save for scrapping and building with crumbs and strips and things like that, that trash gets used to stuff. Usually, I make them out of muslin cases that are about the shape and size of a pillowcase, sometimes bigger depending on who it's for. But I use all of those for stuffing and the old batting and things like that that I am not going to be able to use for or reuse for a different project or a scrap project. I stuff them all in a muslin bag, sew the end shut, and I build covers out of my scraps. If I want to just try a technique, or if I want to strip piece for a while and just do some mindless relaxed just piecing and sewing between projects or what have you, I make fabric. I put everything back together, make fabric, and then I make covers for these dog beds. And then I either use them at home, use them in my little downstairs studio where the dogs occasionally sleep at my feet, give them as gifts to people, or I donate them to shelters and to especially animal rescues. I do a lot of work with animal rescues for horses and for dogs and cats. And some of the places that I either volunteer or that I have taken animals from into my home and rescued from often are the beneficiaries of my donations. So I posted some pictures of me clearing up over the weekend, and a lot of people said, "Hey, let's talk about that." I wandered into, I don't remember if it was Marshall's or a TJ Maxx, some kind of a discount chain store, and my daughter and I have been looking for on sale pillowcases, and she found pillow protectors, which actually go over a pillow before you put the pillowcase on and actually have already a built-in zipper along one side. So it saved me the time of even having to sew the end shut once they were stuffed. So they were on sale at like two for $6, I think. And so we bought the two sets that happened to be there. And if we wander around other treasure hunting, we'll pick up what we can find. Another great source of bed linens like that are on sale or very inexpensive are thrift stores or Goodwill, places that you might go in to drop off a donation and then breeze through and just take a look in their bedding section. They obviously don't sell mattresses and pillows, but they sometimes have sheets and bedspreads and sometimes pillowcases that you can pick up for $1 or something. And it just saves you all that time. I also hoard my muslin because I use it for some of my journal covers and scrappier things that I also work on and build. So if I don't have to use up my muslin on a dog bed that I'm going to donate, a $3 pillowcase or a $2 set of pillowcase or whatever, that's a great solution and a big time saver. So these, I didn't even have to sew them. I just opened the zipper, stuffed everything until I was satisfied with the stuffing and the width of the amount of stuffing, and zipped them shut. And then when I build the cover, I will tack the zipper shut so that if a dog is a chewer and wants to gnaw through or whatever, that it doesn't reopen everything, split everything open. I'll just tack that shut either by hand or zigzag back and forth on the sewing machine. Anyway, another thing that I decided to do because I'm clearing out my closet also is I took several pairs of jeans that I was going to donate, and instead of taking them to to the charity shop, I cut up the legs in sections, opened them up, and sewed them all together. And so I'm working on getting enough pieces sewn together to actually build the dog beds out of denim. Although there will be seams, I don't think a dog is that fussy. If they'll sleep on the gravel, or at my house they sleep on the wood chips and then bring all the wood chips into the studio in their fur. If they're not that fussy, I have a feeling the seams of denim won't bother them. But that seems to me to be even sturdier in for especially a donation dog bed. Just make them out of old jeans or old scrap corduroy shirts or corduroy pants or something a little heavier in weight. So, at any rate, I wanted to talk a little bit about my resources, about finding those pillowcases and those zipper pillow protectors. And I used to lay out all of my little trash bits, my literal crumbs and trash cuttings, and I used to cut them very fine with the rotary cutter. And what I found out with my own dogs is that they couldn't care less. So I cut them into bite-sized pieces, I would say, especially batting and trimmings of edges of quilts. I cut them into manageable pieces so that they don't bunch up and make a knot or a ball. But I don't trim them into tiny little, confetti anymore. I just, trim them up into manageable pieces and then stuff them into the in this case pillow protectors, and that seems to work better than going to all the effort. It also saves my blade as well as my cutting mat. I was finding when I was shredding them all up and doing all that work, it was a bunch of extra labor, and when I would sweep up the pieces into the pillowcase or the casing, I found that there were lots of threads and bits that stayed jammed into the cutting mat because I was going fast and pushing hard to try to save time. I was jamming, and so it kind of wore out my cutting mat sooner than I would have liked. So that's basically the overview on how I use these little bits and pieces of trash cuttings and threads and batting scraps and ends of fabric. I've made a video about this before, and I think it might have been in my vlog series. I think I did a 10 vlog series last year. But I've made a more specific video. I'll try to find it, and if I do, I'll put it in the description box below, which I'm not very good at. but if you search back through my videos, you'll see that there's another dog bed showing me actually cutting everything into bits, and I will insert some photos, a little slideshow of the where I got it, the label, and the kind of pillow protectors. The pillow protectors unzipped and without anything in them, and then stuffing them with the bits and pieces. So I hope that answers those questions that you've been asking in all the comments on Instagram and on Facebook, on my Facebook Drama Queen Bee Quilts page. And I hope all of you too. I want to encourage you. I hope you're doing a little decluttering and clearing up and sorting out of your own. And don't be discouraged. It takes a long time. I'm watching all of these vloggers on YouTube doing a lot of posts about, their 20-day challenge or their 2-week challenge or their 10-day challenge, whatever. And it puts a lot of pressure on us to all try to figure out how we can find that much time in our schedule to spend in the studio cleaning up. I like to clean in between large projects, like in between a quilt job or in between a set of customer quilts or whatever. I like to tidy a bit. But in terms of the actual get ready for the new year, and let's finish some UFOs and some works in progress, and let's get those worked up and sewn together and finished and quilted and gifted if that's what they're for. I actually do feel quite motivated right now, but I don't like the pressure of doing it on a schedule. So don't be discouraged if you're not getting as much done as you thought. Just stay at it and take this as a little bit of my personal experience and encouragement that you'll get to it when you can. And if you get distracted in the middle of clearing things up and find a project that you're dying to finish and you just sit down and do that and don't finish vacuuming, that's awesome. I did that very thing when I found a pile of batiks I was going through and trying to reshuffle, and I posted last week some pictures of that, and I might add them in my slideshow just as a little side note. that indeed it is. That's what your studio is for. That's what your quilting room is for. That's why getting your sewing machine out and putting it on the dining room table is for, is doing that sewing. So if you got distracted and finished a project or worked on a project and did some scrapping or whatever, good for you. I'm all for that. So good luck continuing on. Don't be discouraged. Just keep at it when you can. And I'll do my slideshow next. So all the best to everyone. Thank you for joining me for this little brief, little sort of vlog, I guess, in answer to your questions. And Happy New Year. And I'll be back with more really soon. All the best. It's Beth Maitland from Drama Queen Bee Quilts.